What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, I wanted to talk about land surfing because that is the new hot topic when it comes to land, and this is all based on the podcast episode for the People's Guild, where they interviewed Hardpoint, who is working, very diligently on land with Farpetrad, and essentially revealed this idea on how to open up land to everybody and get more land utilization in the long run. Now, there were a lot of ideas thrown out there. I'm not going to be able to cover them all, but I just wanted to cover what I think are the important parts and give some thoughts on them, while also reminding you that this is all subject to change. None of it is technically even confirmed yet, but it is exciting and it is really cool to see and to think about. So as we go from here, once again, I highly recommend you go check out the People's Guild podcast episode with Hardpoint. People's Guild, fantastic podcast, by the way, just phenomenal interviewers, B. Jangles. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, I have the Praetoria kind of land distribution pulled up here, and we'll jump into that in a second. But to get into what land surfing is, you can think about it as something very similar to land squatting. In fact, it was initially called land squatting by the team internally, but Hardpoint revealed that he didn't necessarily like the idea of squatting, but like couch surfing made a little bit more sense. It sounded a little cooler, a little bit more casual, and so it sounds like this whole initiative has been dubbed now land surfing. And what that essentially means is that people who do not own the plot of land will be able to go in and actually utilize land. You'll be able to stake DEC and stake your monsters on there and earn the rewards that you would normally get. Now, what it's looking like is that you will get 50%, and the owner will also get 50%. So even if the landowner is not there or not active or whatever the case is, you will still, they'll still get something out of it. So in a way, and Hardpoint even alluded to this, in a way, it's almost like renting, but you can't really control who you're renting to, which I guess you can't really control in a normal circumstance anyway, but you do get some benefit out of it. And I think a lot of if I was a region or tract holder or multiple region and tract holder, I'd probably be really happy about this, because they probably don't have all the DEC and the monsters that they need, but what this does is open up players like myself who only have 3 plots, but if I want to get more land utilization, I can go and land surf on some of these plots. Now, what are the main things here? Because you have to remember that at the end of the day, the landlord or the landowner gets final say. So the only time you'd be able to land surf, and again, we don't have the details on this yet. The team may not even have figured it out. My understanding is that if the land is inactive, maybe for a certain period of time, or maybe it's just completely unoccupied, right? So if there is nothing on there, and maybe it's like that for a short period of time, you are able to go on, stake your monsters. It doesn't matter that you don't own the land, but you'll be able to go on and stake your monsters. You'll have to stake the appropriate DEC. You'll need a power core, so that'll be an important thing to remember too. That's 5,000 DEC as well. So you'll need a power core. You'll need all of that in order to participate on land in that way. And then again, all subject to change, but it sounds like you would earn 50% of the rewards and the other 50% would still go to the landowner. So the benefit of this, just right off the bat, is the fact that land utilization could go through the roof, because now all of a sudden anybody anywhere can start utilizing land. All these like large region holders that were saying, oh, I'm only going to utilize 5%, 10%, 15% of my land. Well, now they can do that. And then, someone like myself that has some extra monsters and DEC can just jump right in and have some fun and start earning on the side. So what is that going to do? Well, it's going to increase the amount of monsters that are used up in land. It's going to increase the amount of DEC that ends up getting staked. And so therefore, just land utilization across the board increases dramatically. So looking at the distribution here, you can see that we have 126,000 plots already surveyed. That's 84%. But there's still 5.5%, over 8,000 plots that are unsurveyed, and another 15,000, which is over 10%, that are not even claimed yet. So, there's already land, over 15% of land, 16% of land that is not even in a position to be utilized, right? It hasn't been claimed or it hasn't been surveyed. So in a way, like, doing this will allow people to be able to go and use those lands. And the way that Hardpoint was describing it was, if it's unsurveyed and it's unclaimed, then maybe what it will do will just give like a very basic level 1, or common level rewards of whatever type of land it is. And so if it's unclaimed, or actually if it's both unclaimed or unsurveyed, then you don't really know what kind of plot it's going to be, but maybe you'll get a little bit of a preview there. Maybe it'll be something generic. I don't know how all of that's going to work out. Maybe it'll only be available on surveyed lands in the beginning, but either way, surveyed, unsurveyed, unclaimed, I think in the long term, they want to make sure that if land was burned, or if it was, if the keys are lost, if somebody passes away, if land is not able, if people are not able to access land as the owner, they will, land can still be utilized by the rest of the community. So taking this back now, how is the owner protected? Because if you're the owner, you're probably wondering, well, this kind of sucks. Anybody can come in and just use my land. And that is true, but you are able to kick anybody off that is on your land, and you can do it with a minimal amount. It could just be with literally one level monster. If you don't want somebody surfing on your land, you could just stake one level monster on there. And I do wonder if maybe a lot of the larger region holders will end up doing this just to stifle a lot of the production, because they don't necessarily want all that production coming in. So it's going to be a balance, because I'm sure some of the region holders, or large, I shouldn't say region, but just like large landholders that can't utilize all their land, maybe some of them will be like, it's okay, I'll take 50%, right? I'll take 50% passively from somebody else doing the work. But maybe some others will say, I'm gonna put one card on there, right? One Pelacor Bandit or one Venari Heatsmith and the minimum amount of DEC, and be good to go, right? And therefore nobody can come on my land if my monsters are there. And if somebody is there, you can kick them off with the minimum amount. Now, where this gets fun and somewhat gamified is that different land surfers can kick each other off. And it all comes down to production points. So whoever can do the most production or provide the most production will kick anybody with less production off. And Hardpoint alluded to this and kind of gave a metaphor of the game war, the card game war. So it's just like whoever has the higher card wins, right? So whoever has the higher production points wins. So let's say I'm on there and I have like 5 maxed, regular common cards. And I have, all the DEC, all the stuff, whatever, it's on there. Somebody can come along and maybe they have 5 maxed, rare cards or epic cards. But basically their production could be 1 point higher than mine. And they'd be able to kick all of my monsters off. And from my understanding, I would lose the 3 days, right? Because those monsters would all be in cooldown for 3 days. So I would lose that, and I would no longer have access to the plot. I would get everything back, right? So all the DEC that gets unstaked, all the units that get unstaked, everything eventually comes back to you. But it would then go to whoever has the highest production points available. So there is going to be a little bit of a gamification there. And speaking further out, when it comes to land, I mean, Hardpoint was giving a lot of really cool ideas, stuff that I think would probably be years out at this point, but like different elements of being able to actually fight it out if you wanted to, maybe doing some kind of battles across land, stealing one another's resources. I think of Golem Overlord. For anybody who plays Golem Overlord, stuff like that would be really cool to implement. Just these small like mini games where you're able to go in like every couple of hours or whatever and do something. Again, that would probably get botted to hell. So yeah, maybe it's best if we don't necessarily go that route, but it is fun to think about, is all I'm going to say. So getting back to land surfing, which is what this video is supposed to be about, that's the basic gist behind it. What it's going to do is utilize or open utilization for land up in a very tremendous way. And it's something that I'm really excited about, because then anybody coming into the game, like let's say we hit another boom, right? And it doesn't necessarily need to be crazy, but let's just say new players come in and it's just like they're in here and they're looking at land plots, which are going for like 30, 40 bucks, whatever. And they don't necessarily want to jump into a land plot, right? They don't want to make the investment, or they don't want to buy one for 30, 40 bucks, but they could go and buy, a small, like a common rewards card, which is like a penny, right? Or level up a common reward card. and they can get the DEC. And let's say they find a land that's open and available. They can go in and just start earning a little something. They don't necessarily need to own the land, and they can do that and then slowly start building up their resources, slowly start building up the workers that they might put on land. And maybe, again, it's the idea behind it is that it's open and available to everyone. So you can go in, and I don't know if, there's going to be, I'm sure there's going to be tools, maybe even bots that will go in and automatically find the best land plots, right? And be able to just boot everyone out of there, and all of that will be automated. And maybe it'll be through Splex or Peak Monsters or something, which again would take away some of the fun from it. But if it's not, if we do get it to be somewhat of a, hey, I'm going to look around and I'm going to just get involved from the get-go, and there's 150,000 plots and not enough players to cover all of them, then that does bode well for a lot of the newer players that could come in over the next, I don't even know when this would go live. I don't know, 6, 12 months, whatever that time period is. Now, speaking of which, we don't know when this would actually go live. As it is, we don't even know when Land 1.5 is going to go live, but we know already, at least according to Hardpoint, that this is not going to be something that will be live when Land 1.5 is released. So if you have to imagine that it's going to take additional dev work, and factor in how much time these devs take for whatever it is they need to do for land surfing, I mean I don't even know what would it be. 2 sprints, 4 sprints, 6 sprints, right? 1, 2, 3 months after Land 1.5. So there's a chance that we may not even get it this year, but it is a cool concept. It is something interesting to think about. And I don't think that it's something that would be there for it. Let me put it this way. I don't think it would be something. I think it would be something that they would do before Land 2.0. And so if they're going to try to implement that between Land 1.5 and 2.0, again, I've been saying I think 2.0 is not going to be it's not coming out this year. It may not even come out in the first half of next year, considering how expansive it is and how long it's taken to get 1.5 going. But if, land surfing is going to be 1.75, you have to factor in that there will be some kind of development time needed for that. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a great idea, and I am really, really looking forward to its implementation when it gets here. But I also think we're kind of putting the cart before the horse here. Let's get Land 1.5 first and see how things shake out. So that is land surfing for all the folks who weren't aware, because we were talking about it on the live stream earlier today, and some folks were asking about it. So once again, I will give a plug to the People's Guild podcast episode with Hardpoint. Definitely go check it out. And he talks about it within the first 20, 25 minutes. So you don't have to wait too long. And I would say the entire thing is fantastic. So you should stick around for the entire episode. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.